Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for another Sunday Night Youth Online. If you're watching this live with us, comment in the chat and let us know you're here and how your first week of distance education went this past week. Do you like it, or are you ready to be in person again? It's been a couple of weeks since we last met, and hopefully you guys had fun with your small groups and got to enjoy Easter with your families. And over the last couple of weeks, our creativity for passing the time has been tested. Some of you may have been really busy, while others lost track of what day it is because every day feels the same. It's Sunday, by the way. And so our game and our group challenge this week both have to do with creative solutions for passing the time. To explain our first game, here's Aaron.
Good evening, Apex Youth. It is time for another great game. This week, we've decided to switch it up just a little bit, and we've decided to ask the Wilkins families to participate. That's right. Mandy and Mr. Charles are going to be this week's hosts for our game. The name of the game is pretty simple. It's Best Dad Jokes. The rules are also pretty simple. Each one will give a joke, and whoever laughs, the other will receive the point. So that's all I have. Mandy, Mr. Charles, take it away.
So this is Charles.
And Mandy, hi.
And we've been chosen to play stupid dad jokes. I have my salt shotgun in case the fly comes by. So we're gonna get right into it. In the theme of fishing, since I've been fishing during the virus, what did the fish say when he swam into the wall?
What did the fish say when he swam into the wall?
Damn!
You didn't think that was funny? Why did the physics teacher break up with the biology teacher?
I don't know.
There was no chemistry. Okay. That was funny. You have to admit. Oh, he laughed.
Why did the golfer have 2 pairs of pants? Because he got a hole in one.
Good one. Ready? Why do the French like to eat snails so much?
Why did the French like to eat?
They don't like fast food. 3 for me.
No,
Or is that more?
Marcus. That's only 1. What do you call a pig that does karate?
I don't know.
A pork chop.
Oh. Okay. Did you hear about the new movie called Constipation?
No.
It hasn't come out yet. That's a good one. You like that one?
That was pretty good.
This is what it's come to with quarantine potty jokes. You're up.
What do you call a Chewbacca with a chocolate chip stuck in his hair?
Charles is really losing badly. In his hair?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A chocolate chip Wookie.
What?
A chocolate chip Wookie.
I don't get it.
Okay, that's pretty cute.
Chocolate chip cookie, chocolate chip Wookie.
Here's another good potty joke that's quite appropriate for quarantine. Why didn't the toilet paper make it across the road?
I got it. I know what it is.
Too many cracks on the way. Okay, your turn.
Where do you find a dog with no legs?
This is not really nice.
Right where you left him.
That's mean.
I don't get
I
it.
don't like the dog joke. What do you call a camel with no hump? Humphrey. I should be a dad. Okay, your turn.
Why didn't the vampire like Taylor Swift?
Something about bad blood.
Because she had bad blood. I'm failing at this miserably.
What do you call a bear that's lost all its teeth?
I don't know.
A gummy bear.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that.
Alright. How many more you got?
Well, let's let this be the last one because I lost.
It's the last one for you. I got one more.
A ham sandwich walks into the bar. What does the bartender say? We don't serve food here.
Okay. Did you hear a construction joke?
Yeah,
I'm still working on it.
she laughed. I didn't.
Alright. There's your bad dad jokes for the night. Have fun.
I think it's Mandy one later.
All right, you probably thought that was either really funny or a complete dud, but as a dad, I loved it. For those of you that don't know, Charles is an 11th grade boy small group leader, and so we'll let him represent his small group. And Mandy's a volunteer extraordinaire, but we decided to award her points to the for winning to the 12th grade girls since their daughter Avery is a senior. That means that our senior boys continue to lead, but the senior girls are finally on the board. In middle school, the 6th and 7th grade boys are tied for the lead with 30 points each. All right, that brings us to announcing the winner of our group challenge. Over the last couple weeks, we asked you guys to send in some of your favorite memes that you've come across while you've been stuck at home during the stay-at-home order. And we got a lot of great submissions, but ultimately our judges conferred and decided that the winner is Natalie Behan. Natalie, you win a $10 gift card to a local restaurant. We'll touch base with you this week and get that safely delivered to you soon. There'll be another challenge announced tomorrow, so be sure to sign up for either our middle school or our high school text messages so that you have a chance at winning our next $10 gift card. Tonight, we're starting a new teaching series called Love Hate. We all have a tendency to hate on others. We can be pretty quick to judge, and in a lot of ways, we thrive on it because we live in a world that loves to hate. The problem? We are made for a different kind of world, a world designed for love, not hate. But loving others isn't always easy. How do we love people who drive us crazy? How do we tell someone the truth without sounding like a hater? How do we love the unlovable? And in this series, we'll explore what it looks like to lead with love rather than judgment and to make a move toward landing on the right side of the line between love and hate. Feels pretty appropriate for what we're going through right now, so check it out.
We live in a world where we use the words love and hate pretty loosely. For example, you may say you love Lucky Charms cereal, but you hate Raisin Bran. Or you may say you love Marvel movies, but you hate musicals. I mean, you get the idea. We live in a love-hate culture. Love is a big deal to us. Most of the biggest movies in the theater have a love story attached to them. A lot of songs that top the charts are about love. Americans alone spend $20.7 billion on Valentine's Day. And in the church, we talk about how God loves you and you should love one another. On the other hand, we live in a culture that loves to hate on other people or ideas. We make fun of celebrities. We bash TikTok stars. We even hate on people in our own lives, in a private group text, of course. I mean, we may not say them out loud, but most of us have opinions on everything and everyone. So if love is such a big deal, why does hate, and specifically hating on people, seem to be such a natural part of our lives? There's a lot we could all say about the different ways people hate on people, but because we have limited time together today, we're going to focus on one: gossip. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, those people are the worst, I'm hating on anybody who hates on somebody else by gossiping, just hear me out for a second. Adults are just as bad about this, maybe even worse than teenagers. But you do have to admit that middle school and high school makes gossip easier. Am I right or am I right? I mean, think about it. You're in the same place all day long. It's super boring sometimes, and talking about people makes things interesting. And because everybody is talking all the time, it's easy for people's worst moments to come up in conversation. You may be thinking, I don't talk about other people, but I know people who do all the time. But the truth is, we all do. When it comes to gossip, We all need to take a look in the mirror and ask ourselves if we contribute to this form of hating. I mean, with all the things we have going on in our lives, with being as busy as we are, why is it so easy to spend our precious free time talking about other people? Why do all of us have such a strong attraction to trash talking, gossiping, or spilling the tea about people? I think there are a few big reasons. One is our insecurities. If we can point out what's wrong with other people, it helps cover up what we feel insecure about in ourselves. Another is easy bonding. I mean, come on, is there a better way to get in with a group of people than by sharing some key info on someone else and connecting through that kind of conversation? Another is fun. It's highly entertaining to be the first person to know the details or be in the middle of breaking news about people. Or there's the competitive advantage. Some of us just want to be the best. So we'll casually mention how not great someone else is just to show how much better we are. Or then there's truth. Sometimes we justify talking about people with the fact that the people we're talking about and the things that we're saying are actually true. We think it's okay because the people we're talking about deserve it or brought it on themselves. We say things like facts or I'm just telling it like it is. Then there's innocent intentions. Sometimes we just have good friends that we share everything with. And sometimes everything includes everything about somebody else's bad decision. Like I already mentioned, gossip is not a high school or a middle school thing. It's a people thing. We all know adults, teachers, and coaches. There are shows, podcasts, YouTube channels dedicated to gossiping about and hating on other people. Social media has made this easier than ever. There are celebrities who are famous literally because people gossip about them. They haven't released an album, acted in a movie, or invented anything world-changing, but they seem to be a trending topic all the time. What a weird time to be alive. But isn't it true that although gossip is a naturally accepted part of our culture, there's something inside of all of us that knows it's not good? I mean, if you've ever been talked badly about, then you know just how terrible it feels. It's not fun to be the subject of other people's conversations, especially when they don't have all the details or even know you. For me, the only time I want people talking about me behind my back is if they're complimenting me. Anything else just, well, hurts. Everyone knows gossip is a bad thing when it's about them. But in a culture like ours, a culture that loves to hate on people and ideas, how is it even possible to stop? Interestingly, someone who lived a couple thousand years ago might have written some of the best advice on this particular topic. His name is Paul, and he's one of the most famous Christians to ever live. His life was dedicated to starting churches and telling people about Jesus. He would often write letters to the churches he had planted. Eventually, some of those letters would become what we call books of the Bible. One of those letters is now called the Book of Ephesians. It was written to a group of people in the ancient city of Ephesus, which was a bustling port city, full of culture, diversity, and religions. It was a town full of a bunch of people with a bunch of differences. This type of setting is the perfect fuel for gossip. There was plenty to talk about, plenty to disagree with, and plenty to judge. In fact, for the people Paul wrote to, Jesus followers, it would have been easy for them to judge what they saw in the people around them. And it would have been super easy for them to gossip. But Paul wanted the Christians in Ephesus to operate differently than culture. So his letter is all about them as followers of Jesus living unique lives. Here's what he had to say. This is from Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. In this one sentence, Paul makes it clear that unwholesome talk is not supposed to be a part of our lives. Now, I get it. Some of us read that and think it means you shouldn't cuss. And while that's a good idea, I think there's more to what Paul is saying than just don't use this specific set of words. This letter was originally written in Greek. And if we were to look at the original word for unwholesome in Greek, one of its meanings is rotten. And that, my friends, is a great word to describe what gossip is. Talk that rots. Talking trash or gossiping rots friendships, relationships, and reputations. This isn't what we want to produce with our lives, is it? I mean, we don't want to be people who put out a rotten vibe. When we talk about people or participate while someone else does, we're actually contributing to the rotting of some of the things that matter most to us and the people around us. In fact, not only does it rot things around you, it might actually be an indication of something unwholesome inside of you. Jesus himself talked about this. This is from Mark 7:15. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. So according to Jesus, what comes out of you says a lot about what's within you. When you gossip, it shows something about you. More than the words you speak, it's about the motivation that causes you to say certain things or participate in certain conversations. It's an issue of the heart. Back to Paul. He gives us an alternative to the unwholesome gossip. This comes from the rest of Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. In other words, if you choose to put the needs of others ahead of your own, and when you think about who a person is instead of just judging them, you'll stop yourself from gossip. You'll think about them before you speak about them. If you choose to build others up, care about their needs, and help them, you'll choose words that benefit them instead of words that bash them. Now, I get that this is a lot easier said than done. In a world where hating on people is a literal pastime and can be an actual career path, it's hard to be the guy or girl who chooses wholesome over unwholesome. But it's also one of the best decisions you can make. Why? Because what you say about others says a lot about you. Think about it. You know people who trash talk their friends, spread rumors, or always have a mean joke to make about somebody. When you think about that person, you think about that part of them. It seems like hating on people is what they're about. And you probably know people who are the opposite, who refuse to hate on people, who walk out of the room when somebody is gossiping. Chances are, when you think about them, it's pretty positive. It's easy to respect people like that. So when it comes to your conversations, it isn't really a question of what to say or not to say. The real question is, what do you want to be all about? Do you want to be known as someone who loves others or a hater? Someone who trashes people or builds them up? The good news is that you have a choice. You get to decide who you want to be and what you want to be known for. For those of you who follow Jesus, that's why God gives you the power to be different. God wants people to be known for love and not hate. Just because gossip is fun, normal, or kind of hilarious doesn't mean it's worth it to participate. Instead, you and I can choose to be about something else. We can seek the kind of reputation Paul talked about, one where we're known as people who use words to help others, build others up, and make their needs a priority. We simply choose love over hate. Think of it this way. Let love be what you're all about. Of all the things we could be known for, let's start with the thing that Jesus said was the greatest, love. Now, this starts way before words come out of our mouths. It starts with us deciding to care about other people, no matter what they do. It then transfers to our words. We all have a way of deciding what we say. None of us would ever admit this, but deep down, we know we sometimes decide what to say about answering these questions. Will it make me look funny? Will it make me look cool? Will it make me look smart? Is it mostly true? Now, these filters often lead to unwholesome, rotten words. Before we know it, something rotten is spreading in our relationships. We need a new question. And I really like the word Paul gives us because it ties in perfectly if we want to be people who are all about love. Is this helpful? So before you and I say anything, we should use this question. In fact, we can put it into practice immediately. We can start today in small group. We can start today with our siblings. All we need to ask is, will these words be helpful? Will they build others up? Will they make someone's life better? When we use the filter of being helpful, it doesn't matter if the story is true, if the joke is funny, or if the gossip is particularly good. If it isn't helpful, it isn't worth our words. If we choose to be all about love and use this filter, the words we should and shouldn't use will become really clear. It's actually pretty amazing how a filter that's thousands of years old still works in today's world. Imagine for a moment if those of us hearing this today chose to let love be what we're all about. What would happen at your school if just the people from this church refused to judge, to hate, to talk about, to gossip? Imagine if we chose to be people who use words to help and build up others. This would have an impact in literally every situation, right? In fact, it may just change the view some people have of Christians. I mean, imagine if Christians were known for being all about love instead of hate. How much more appealing would it be to follow God? How much more magnetic would the church be? How much more would people around us be willing to get to know Jesus if we acted like the thing that he said was most important, love, was actually most important? All of us get to decide whether we'll be known for being about love or being someone who loves to hate. So let's be about love. Let's let love be what we're all about.
Okay, that's it for large group this week. We have a couple of announcements that we want to talk through real quick. We've gotten a couple of emails asking about things that are coming up in the future, like AOSP, and yes, right now, we are doing what we can behind the scenes as we wait for further information to reevaluate what our summer might look like and when we might be able to do things in person. We're cautiously hoping to be able to do AOSP and yes, but we're also thinking through creatively the logistics of those events. And so we'll let you know soon. Save the date for yes registration, though, as we plan ahead, which will open up on May 3rd. And you can find out more information about that on the event page on our website at apexumc.org/YM. Also, if you're a senior that's about to graduate this year, information about the Toby White Scholarship is going out in our newsletter tomorrow, so you'll want to be looking for that as well. That'll be due on May 20th. Okay, before you go to small groups, we're going to close in a prayer. And over the last couple weeks, we've been doing these daily-ish devotionals 5 days a week on our YouTube channel and Facebook pages. And we've come across an Instagram account that is called Prayers from Terry. It has a lot of unique prayers for everyday situations. And I found one that I felt was appropriate for a discussion tonight. So I'm going to use that to close us in prayer, if you'll pray with me. O Christ, who looked on the haters with love, but also stunted on them, we commend to thee all who drink haterade. Make us receptive to the real ones who bring genuine constructive criticism. But when folks come out of the woodwork to keep us from doing our thing, prepare a force field and a 3-course meal for us in the presence of our enemies. And keep our minds on that which is lovely and praiseworthy. Haters will say it's Photoshop, but make us bear the image of the one who's got him with the resurrection and the ascension, whose thug life is also a hug life, who reigns with our Father, the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. All right, enjoy your small groups this week.